Hello and welcome to The Rusted Brush. In this video, I'm going to discuss starting my new army, the Savage and Feral Beastmen. To start with, I want to explain why I chose Beastmen as my next army, and that begins with a little story. When I first got into Warhammer, I had gotten the 6th edition starter set with my brother, and I loved the orcs. They were so brutal and mean looking. What me and my brother loved to do was look at what we wanted for our armies, and also look at other armies we wanted. This usually came from looking at the rulebook and also looking at white dwarves. One day, I remember us going to our local game store. I looked at the army books and I remember seeing the cover of the Beastmen army book, and I thought they were so cool, and I loved the idea of half beast, half man. Their armor and weapons looked more sophisticated compared to the orcs I had. I hadn't seen anything like them. One thing I should mention here is that Warhammer was my first introduction to the fantasy genre. I had only read a little bit about the Minotaur from Greek mythology, but the art for the Beastmen was nothing like the art I had seen before. I went to check out the minis for them, and even as a kid, I was pretty disappointed by the models. I thought they didn't live up to the artwork at all. They seemed a little goofy, a little closer to what I had seen with Greek mythology even. It was an army I never picked up, and along the years I still enjoyed seeing all the depictions of them in their art. I had put it on the back burner that I would convert my own Beastmen, but it always seemed a bit daunting, and I had no real army plan for them. Well, the old world really got me back into playing Warhammer Fantasy, and there's an amazing community as well. I have my orcs done, my vampire accounts are pretty much done, and the Estalian army is getting there. So it's time to hunker down and make another army. Plus, this edition has a lot less models than the previous editions. Feels like a perfect time to start this army. Moving on, I decided I should make an army list. I should have an idea of what models I want to bring, and with some influences and inspirations in mind. I'll be going over those inspirations later on. So for army building, I decided I wanted to start with something that was fairly competitive, but nothing to the extreme so that I could still play the army for a more casual game. Starting with core, I'm going to have 28 gores with additional hand weapons. They're going to have a true horn equipped with a great weapon, and the standard bearer is going to have the Totem of Rust. This is a very solid troop choice, and a good bunker for characters. Totem of Rust is great since I don't have an armor save anyways, and that makes a huge impact on who decides to charge them. The next is a unit of 20 ungors with thrusting spears, a standard bearer, and musician. The reason for the musician is to mostly help with being march blocks since I want these to get around the enemy. The same thing for the following unit of 10 ungors with short bows and a musician. Another unit to do a similar task but faster is 5 warhounds with armored hide and vanguard. Their role is to mostly try and get rid of any war machine and to potentially redirect frenzied or impetuous enemy units. And lastly for core is minotaurs, which normally are not core, but my general is going to be a doom bull. The minotaurs are going to be my heavy hitters. One is equipped with an additional hand weapon, one with a greatsword, and the blood kind has a charmed shield and hand weapon. They have a lot of great rules and great stats, which makes this unit very scary, especially when I have that doom bull join them. For special and rare units, I got 2 dragon ogres and a dragon ogre shagoff. If you're familiar with either of these units, you know these are some of the best units in the game. High mobility, fairly tough, and very killy. The 2 dragon ogres are equipped with heavy armor and greatswords. The dragon ogre shagoff has a great weapon and the blackened plate. The blackened plate is full plate armor with a 3-up ward save against flaming attacks. Now the best stuff I save for last, the characters. I have a wargore that is my battle standard bearer. He's equipped with a great weapon, heavy armor, and enchanted shield for a ward save, and the slug skin mutation. The slug skin mutation gives enemies -1 to hit when they're in combat with the wargore and the unit he's joined. The plan is to put the wargore in the unit of gores to make them fairly hard to kill. Next up is the Great Brave Shaman. He's a level 4 wizard with the lore of demonology. I've equipped him with the Ruby Ring of Ruin to give him a fireball, and the Hag Tree Fetish which lets him reroll wounds from magic missiles he casts. The shaman is also going to be joining the wargore in the unit of gores to protect him. The next is the level 2 Brave Shaman. This one I equipped a bit more spicy. He's going to be in a Tuskor chariot with the Pelt of Midnight giving him a -1 to hit from enemy shooting, and the Hunter Spear which essentially makes him have a handheld bolt thrower. I think this is one of my favorite unit ideas I had, and I think there's some great conversion ideas I have for this as well. And lastly my general, which is a Doom Bull. I've equipped him with the armor of Meteoric Iron to give him a 5-up save that can't be reduced. He's got the Ogre Blade to make him hit harder, the Gouge Test to improve his armor piercing, and the Many-Limbed Fiend to give him an extra attack with his hand weapon. I really kitted him out, and he should be able to just annihilate anything he touches. Well, maybe not dragons, but still. And that's the current army plan in terms of units I want to bring, but let me tell you about how I want my army to look. Like I said earlier, I want them to be a bit more grimdark and brutal. For that, I want to talk a bit about the inspirations and influences that will go into converting and painting them. To start with, my first influence is coming from the Hussite Wars. The Hussite tactics were fairly different and unique for their time period. The use of war wagon and gun in specific are what I want to incorporate in my army. Related to my first influence is my second, which is the indie game deck. While the Hussites are in the game, it's a cultist's appearance that I do want to incorporate more in my models. In specific, I really like the cultish vibe mixed with medieval armor. Now currently, I haven't built anything, but I'm getting everything ready. I got a bunch of animal skulls 3D printed, some Ungor sprues, and a bunch of stuff from period miniatures as well. So this project will be starting soon. However, that doesn't mean my Estalia army is on the back burner. Next video, I'll be showing off some of the Steel Fist miniatures I got. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Take care, everyone.